ever stop to think about the tiny building blocks that make up, well, everything in your body, like amino acids?
Hmm.
They seem simple enough, but one in particular, Valine, actually has this surprisingly deep story.
It really does.
So today we're doing a deep dive into valine. It's an essential amino acid, and we want to figure out what makes it tick.
Right.
Our mission here is to kind of cut through the noise, pull out the key bits from the research, the articles, all your notes to really get valine's critical roles in the body.
Yeah, get to the core of it.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to being properly informed about valine, its unique properties, what it actually does, the practical side, maybe some surprising facts, but, without drowning you in data.
Sounds good. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. What exactly is valine? Where does it fit in?
Okay, so valine is one of the 9 essential amino acids.
Yeah.
And essential is the key word there.
Amino.
Meaning your body absolutely cannot make it, zero production. You have to get it from what you eat or drink. It's non-negotiable for your body to work right.
Got it. Non-negotiable.
And as part of a special little club, the branched chain amino acids, you've probably heard of them as BCAAs.
Ah, yeah, BCAAs, leucine and isoleucine are the others, right?
Exactly. Valine, leucine, isoleucine, the BCAA family.
And that name, branched chain, it sounds very specific. Is that just descriptive, or does that structure, do something important?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. It's not just a name. Their chemical structure literally has this distinctive branched side chain. The sources call it a fork-like extension off the main backbone.
A fork-like extension.
And that branching, that's precisely what gives them unique metabolic properties. It makes them behave differently than other amino acids.
Interesting.
Valine itself is also what we call nonpolar and hydrophobic. Basically, it repels water. Think oil and water.
Okay.
So because of that, you often find valine tucked away deep inside proteins. It kind of acts like molecular glue, helping the protein hold its specific 3D shape, which is vital for it to function.
So its shape dictates its job, basically. And if people see it written down, it's just Val or V.
Yep, Val or V, standard abbreviations.
Okay, so how much of this unsung hero do we need day to day?
Generally speaking, for an average adult, we're talking around 24 milligrams per kilogram of body weight each day.
So for someone, say, 70 kilos, that's about...
Around 1.7 grams a day-ish. But it's important to remember that's an average. Requirements can definitely change.
Like for athletes.
Exactly. Athletes or people who are really active might need a bit more to help with muscle repair and energy demands.
Makes sense.
What's really cool here, I think, is how that specific branch structure, the thing that gives it its name, is actually the key. It unlocks its unique metabolism and, well, why it's so special in our biochemistry. It's functional design, really.
That unique structure sounds like it leads to some serious advantages. What makes BCAAs and valine specifically such game changers compared to other amino acids?
Right, this is where it gets really interesting. This is kind of their superpower. Unlike most other amino acids, which mainly get processed, metabolized in the liver.
Right, the liver does most of that work.
Yeah, but BCAAs, they can be broken down directly in your skeletal muscles. They bypass the liver for the most part.
Wow, okay. A direct access for the muscles.
Exactly. That's a huge shortcut.
So what are the benefits of that direct pathway? That sounds super efficient.
It's incredibly powerful. It means your muscles can tap into them almost instantly.
Like right when you need them.
Precisely. So BCAAs give you an immediate energy source during exercise, right there on the spot.
Okay.
This also means faster recovery after you've put your muscles under stress. And it helps keep energy production going if you're fasting or cutting calories. It's like a dedicated fuel line straight to the muscle tissue.
So it's not just a building block, it's fuel too. That dual role sounds pretty critical.
It's absolutely fundamental. That unique metabolic route means BCAAs, valine included, can be both the bricks to build new muscle and the emergency gas can when your main fuel, glucose, runs low. So yeah, that dual function is vital, not just for athletes pushing their limits, but really for everyone's overall metabolic health.
So beyond just building muscle, which is what most people think of with BCAAs, what else is valine doing? It sounds like it has a much wider impact.
It definitely does. Let's talk energy production first. When your glycogen stores, that's your stored carbs, get low.
Like during long exercise or fasting?
Exactly. Valine and isoleucine become really important fuel sources then. Your muscles can break them down directly for energy. And get this, the sources show lean breakdown, its catabolism, can actually boost ATP production efficiency by around 22% in the Krebs cycle.
22% just from Valine. That's pretty significant.
It is a big boost to your core energy cycle. And then, of course, there's muscle protein synthesis. That's the big one people know.
Right. Building and repairing muscle.
Absolutely. Valine is a critical piece of the machinery that builds proteins, essential for constructing muscle, repairing tissue after workouts. The research suggests that if you're deficient in valine, your protein synthesis rates can drop by up to 30%.
Wow. 30%.
Yeah, especially impacting those fast-twitch muscle fibers. Plus, BCAAs help put the brakes on muscle breakdown during catabolic states.
Like being sick or aging or really low-calorie diet.
Exactly. They help you hang on to that valuable lean muscle mass.
Okay, so it keeps us physically strong, but does it do anything for, like, brain function, mental clarity?
That's another really fascinating area. Valine helps manage how other amino acids get across the blood-brain barrier.
Okay.
And it's needed to produce key neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
You've got glutamate, which is excitatory, gets things going, and GABA, which is inhibitory, calms things down.
Ah, the brain's accelerator and brake pedals.
Kinda, yeah. And these are crucial for memory, learning, how fast you process information. The data suggests valine contributes something like 40% to keeping glutamate and GABA levels optimal.
40%, that's huge.
It is. And it might even help with focus, reaction time, and reducing that central fatigue, the mental drain, during long workouts.
So Valine helps keep our brains sharp and less tired, too. Any other benefits, maybe at the cellular level?
Yeah, definitely. It contributes to protecting our cells. Valine metabolites help maintain good NAD plus NADH ratios. That's super important for cellular energy.
Right.
They can also cut down on reactive oxygen species, ROS, basically damaging free radicals by up to 18% during intense exercise. So less oxidative stress.
That's a nice bonus.
And it even promotes the creation of new mitochondria, your cell's power plants. So it boosts energy capacity that way too.
Wow.
Oh, and one more, immune support. BCAAs provide fuel for immune cells and help make glutamine, which is important for recovery and immune function, especially when you're stressed or fighting something off.
Okay, that's a lot.
It really is. When you connect all those dots, you see how Valine, with that special direct line to the muscles, isn't just about muscle. It's fundamental for energy, brain chemistry, even keeping our cells healthy and protected.
That's incredibly comprehensive. So given all that, let's dig into the how. Can you walk us through the chemical journey, what's happening under the hood?
Sure. So we mentioned that distinctive isopropyl side chain, the branched bit, and its hydrophobic nature, right?
Yeah, the water-repelling part.
Right. That side chain really acts like molecular Velcro or glue inside proteins. It helps stabilize their structure by creating these nonpolar pockets deep inside. And at body pH, Valine exists as a zwitterion.
Zwitterion sounds complicated.
It just means it has both a positive and a negative charge on different parts of the molecule, but overall it's electrically neutral. That's important for how it behaves in biological systems.
Okay, so structurally it's built for purpose.
Right.
What about the metabolism in the muscle? How does it actually get broken down for energy or used for building?
Right. That's where the unique muscle metabolism really shines. When valine gets broken down, catalyzed in muscle tissue, it's a multi-step pathway.
Okay.
First, an enzyme system called BCK basically snips off its amino group, that nitrogen part. That leaves the carbon skeleton.
Preparing it for energy use.
Exactly. Then another complex set of enzymes, BCKDH, modifies that carbon skeleton. And through a few more specific chemical reactions, it gets converted into something called succinyl-CoA.
Succinyl-CoA, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a key intermediate molecule that can plug directly into the Krebs cycle, the body's main energy production cycle, right there in the muscle cell's mitochondria.
Ah, so it feeds right into the energy factory.
Precisely. So silane gets quickly turned into ATP, NADH, FADH arrows, the cell's energy currency. And the sources also mention that this pathway can create byproducts like beta-hydroxyisobutyrate that support glucose production back in the liver.
Gluconeogenesis, right? Making new sugar.
Exactly, which is super important when you're fasting or exercising for a long time and need to keep blood sugar stable.
That's a pretty elegant system for one molecule. Okay, let's shift to the practical side then. How does all this chemistry translate to real-world health performance? You mentioned a potential double-edged sword.
Right. Let's start with the good stuff. For muscle recovery and endurance, Valine is a big help. It supplies those essential building blocks for repairing muscle tissue after you work out. The sources suggest it can help reduce that delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, that ache you get a day or two later, by up to 30% after lifting weights.
Oh, 30% less soreness sounds good to me.
doesn't it? And it can also boost endurance. It competes with another amino acid, tryptophan, for getting into the brain.
Okay, why does that matter?
Well, tryptophan gets converted to serotonin in the brain, which contributes to feelings of fatigue, especially that central mental fatigue during long activities. So less tryptophan getting in means potentially less fatigue.
Interesting. So it helps fight off mental tiredness during exercise, too.
Seems like it. Now, about that double-edged sword in metabolic health.
Yeah, that definitely caught my ear. What's the downside?
Okay, so on one hand, Valine helps with gluconeogenesis, making new glucose, which is good in certain situations, like fasting or low-carb diets.
Yeah.
Helps maintain energy. But, and this is really crucial research, has linked high circulating levels of BCAAs, including Valine, to insulin resistance, especially in the context of obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Insulin resistance, so making it harder for your body to handle sugar.
Exactly. Some studies suggest it could increase the risk by maybe 25%.
Yeah.
So while Valine is essential and powers you up, getting too much, particularly perhaps some supplements outside of a balanced context, might actually work against metabolic health for some people.
Wow. Okay, so balance is key. That's a really important warning.
Absolutely critical, especially if someone already has prediabetes or metabolic syndrome. It's a nutrient that needs respect, you know.
Definitely. So beyond general health and that metabolic aspect, are there specific clinical uses for Valine?
Yes, definitely. In liver disease, for instance, BCAA formulas that include Valine are often used.
Why is that?
Well, people with liver disease often struggle with protein metabolism, muscle wasting, fatigue, and something called hepatic encephalopathy, that's brain fog or confusion because the liver isn't clearing toxins properly.
Right.
BCAA formulas can help manage these issues. They provide usable amino acids without overloading the compromised liver, support muscle, and can help correct amino acid imbalances affecting the brain. Studies show they can improve quality of life measures by up to 40% for these patients.
That's a significant improvement.
It is. And then there are rare genetic metabolic disorders where valine metabolism itself is broken.
Like what?
There's one called hypervalinemia, where a defect means valine builds up in the blood. This can lead to developmental delays and neurological problems. Another is isobutyryl-CoA dehydrogenase deficiency, which blocks one of those breakdown steps we talked about.
The conversion to succinyl-CoA.
Right. That blockage causes toxic byproducts to accumulate, leading to issues like low blood sugar and muscle weakness. Managing these involves really strict diets, careful monitoring, and genetic counseling.
Okay. And just quickly, circling back to the brain stuff you mentioned.
Yeah, just to reiterate, its role in making glutamate and GABA is vital for normal cognitive function. And specifically in that liver disease context, the BCAA supplementation helps manage the hepatic encephalopathy, partly by fixing those amino acid imbalances in the brain that cause the confusion.
Got it.
So, this really brings up an interesting point for you listening. When you hear about both these amazing benefits and these potential risks, how does that shift your view on something that seems as basic as one amino acid in your diet?
That's a great question. So with all this incredible info, how do we make sure we're getting enough Valine, and what should we be careful about source-wise and safety-wise?
Right. The best way, hands down, is through your diet. Whole foods first.
Okay, so where do we find it? Animal sources first.
Sure. Plenty there. Think meat, beef, chicken, pork, lamb. Fish and seafood are good sources.
No.
Eggs, dairy products like milk, yogurt, cheese. And whey protein is obviously packed with it.
Standard protein sources. And what about for our listeners who are plant-based? Where can they get Valine?
Excellent question. There are great plant-based options too. Soy products are fantastic. Tofu, tempeh, edamame. Beans and legumes like lentils and chickpeas are good. Nuts and seeds, almonds, sunflower seeds, for example. And whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats also contribute.
So plenty of choices. Is there a trick for plant-based eaters?
Yeah, a useful tip is to combine different plant proteins throughout the day, like, rice and beans. That helps ensure you get a full profile of all the essential amino acids, including enough valine, complementary proteins.
Good tip. Okay, what about safety? Any concerns, especially with supplements, maybe?
Getting valine from whole foods is generally very safe. It comes naturally balanced with other amino acids, so you don't really run into issues with imbalances or toxicity. Most people eating a varied diet get plenty.
Okay, but supplements?
Supplements are where you need a bit more caution. High doses of isolated valine, like just taking valine pills, might cause some stomach upset.
Right.
And more importantly, they could potentially lead to amino acid imbalances. If you flood your system with just one, it can interfere with the absorption and use of others. And there's maybe some potential strain on the liver and kidneys if intake is excessive long term.
So it's definitely not a more is better situation with
Yeah.
isolated supplements.
Exactly. And people with existing liver or kidney disease or those rare metabolic disorders we mentioned absolutely need medical guidance on their intake.
Makes sense. So if someone is considering supplements, like an athlete maybe.
The general advice is if you feel you need a BCAA supplement, choose a balanced formula. Typically, you see them in a 2.1:1 ratio of leucine to isoleucine to valine.
Right, I've seen that ratio.
That's generally considered more balanced than taking just one BCAA in high doses. Avoid valine-only products unless a doctor specifically recommends it for a particular reason. But honestly, the sources stress that most athletes, even dedicated ones, can usually meet their BCAA needs perfectly well just through a good diet.
Food first, always a good mantra. And overall protein intake matters too, right? Not just the validating part.
Absolutely. It's crucial to look at your total protein intake, try to spread it out across your meals during the day for better absorption, and adjust it based on your age, how active you are, and any health conditions.
So after all that, what stands out to you as the most important takeaway about getting Valine, or maybe about these essentials in general?
For me, it really comes back to the power of balance and just prioritizing whole foods. Getting valine as part of the complete package of amino acids, the way nature provides it. That way, you get all the benefits we talked about, the muscle support, the energy, the brain function, without accidentally tipping the scales and running into issues from, say, super high doses of just one isolated component. It's about optimizing the whole system,
Yeah.
not just boosting one part.
Optimizing the symphony, not just one instrument. I like that.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into valine, an essential amino acid that's clearly much more than just a simple building block.
Sure.
We've learned it's fundamental for muscle growth, repair, a critical direct fuel source, a key player in brain function, neurotransmitters, even protecting our cells. And while you probably get enough from a balanced diet, understanding its specific roles, and especially that double-edged sword nuance with insulin resistance, that's really vital information. So as you mull this over, maybe just think about how one tiny chemical tweak, that branch side chain we kept mentioning, how that unlocks such huge diverse effects in your body, affecting everything from how long you can exercise to how clearly you think. It's a pretty powerful reminder, isn't it, of the incredible precision and connection inside us and how even the smallest parts have a really big story to tell.